of Full Circle Weekly News. These articles are compiled by Eric the Unready, and I'm your host, Moss Bliss. This is episode 365, covering week 18, April 29th to May 5th, 2024. The Amarok 3.0.0 music player was announced, which was very popular in KDE 3 and KDE 4. The release is only available as source code. Amarok 3.0.0 was the first to be ported to the Qt5 and the KDE Frameworks 5 library. The project code is written in C++ and distributed under the GPL v2 license. Amarok provides a 3-panel mode of displaying information: collection, current composition, and playlist. It allows you to navigate through your music collection, tags, and individual catalogs. It supports dynamic playlists and quickly create your own playlists. It can automatically generate recommendations, statistics, and rating of popular compositions, supports downloading lyrics, covers, and information about compositions from various services, and allows you to automatically generate recommendations, scripts, and information messages about the script. Shotcut 24.04 video editor is available, which uses the MLT project framework to organize video editing. Support for video and sound formats are implemented via FFmpeg. It is possible to use plugins with video and audio effects compatible with Frayeur and LADSPA. Features of Shotcut include multi-track editing with the layout of video from fragments in various source formats without the need for them to be imported or recoding. There are built-in tools for creating screencasts, processing images from a web camera, and receiving streaming video. Qt is used to build the interface. The code is written in C++ and distributed on the GPL v3 license. Ready-made builds are available for Linux, AppImage, Flatpak, and Snap, Mac OS, and Windows. Leonard Pottering introduced the run0 utility, which allows you to perform actions and processes under the identifiers of other users. The new utility is positioned as a safer replacement of the sudo program, implemented in the form of a superstructure over the systemd run command, and allows you to get rid of the use of the executable file with the SUID flag. The run0 utility is included in the release systemd 256, which is currently just at the release candidate stage. The change of the identifier using the SUID flag in sudo involves additional risks associated with the fact that the SUID process inherits the context of execution, including many properties controlled by an unprivileged user, environment variables, file descriptors, planner parameters, and cgroup binding. Part of these properties are automatically cleaned for SUID processes by the core and part by the application itself. However, in complex SUID programs such as sudo, people continue to regularly find vulnerabilities caused by inaccurate handling of external data that an unprivileged user can influence. In run0, instead of using SUID, you are contacting a system manager requesting a command shell or process with the specified user ID, creating a new sudo terminal, and sending data between it and the current terminal. This behavior is more like a launch using SSH than performing using classic sudo. The privileged process is triggered in an isolated context, which is generated by the PID1 process rather than the user's process, and as such does not inherit the properties of the user's environment except for the flow of the $term environment variable. Polkit is used to authorize and determine the user's capabilities in run0. The classical rule description language used in sudo is not supported. The functionality for running programs with other privileges is built into the systemd run, and the run0 command is created as a symbolic link to systemd run, when using which a command line interface is provided. The T2 SDE 24.5 meta distribution has been released, providing an environment for creating your own distributions, cross-compiling, and keeping package versions up to date. Distributions can be created based on Linux, Minix, MinGW, Mac OS, Haiku, and BSD systems. Popular distributions built on the T2 system include Puppy Linux. The project provides basic bootable ISO images with a minimal graphical environment in versions with the Muscle, UClibc, and glibc libraries. More than 5,000 packages are available for assembly. The release provides support for 25 hardware architectures for which 36 ISO images are generated. Most architectures retain the ability to boot into environments with 512 megabytes of RAM. OpenTofu 1.7 project has been presented, which continues the development of the open code base of the configuration management platform and automation of maintaining the Terraform infrastructure. The development of OpenTofu is carried out under the auspices of the Linux Foundation using an open management model with the participation of a community formed from companies and enthusiasts interested in the project. 161 companies and 792 individual developers have announced support for the project. The project code is written in Go and distributed on the MPL 2.0 license. The fork was created in response to HashiCorp moving its products to a proprietary BSL 1.1 license, which restricts the use of code in cloud systems that compete with HashiCorp products and services. The platform can be used to build, modify, and version infrastructure in accordance with the concept of infrastructure as code, in which the configuration of systems is described in a high-level domain-specific language and processed in a similar way to code. OpenTofu supports the construction of a resource graph that defines all connections between resources to effectively parallelize operations on resources and make changes based on dependencies. OpenTofu also allows you to generate an execution plan based on a given configuration, which allows one to evaluate actions with the infrastructure before they are actually applied to the infrastructure. Complex changes to the infrastructure can be made automatically with minimal administrator involvement, which avoids many human errors. At the same time, the administrator can fully monitor what exactly will be changed and in what order. LibreElect 12.0 is out. The user interface is based on the Kodi Media Center. Images have been prepared for loading from a USB drive or SD card. In addition to the standard Kodi capabilities, the distribution provides a number of additional functions aimed at maximizing simplification of operation. For example, a special configuration add-on is being developed that allows you to configure network connection parameters, manage LCD screen settings, and allow or disable automatic installation of updates. Also provided are features such as using a remote control, file sharing, built-in BitTorrent client transmission, automatic search and connection of local and external drives. Ready-made installation for images of Red Hat 9.4 are available for registered users of Red Hat Customer Portal. The release is designed for x86-64, S390X, IBM System Z, PPC-64LE, and AArch64, ARM64 architectures. RHEL 9 will be supported until 2032. The source code of the RHEL 9.4 RPM packages are not posted in the public repository git.cintas.org and are provided to the company's clients only through a closed section of the site, which has a user agreement prohibiting the redistribution of data, which does not allow the use of these packages to create derivative distributions. The source remains available in the CentOS Stream repository, but are not completely synchronized with RHEL, and the latest versions of packages do not always match the packages from RHEL. Nate Graham has published a report on preparations for the KDE Plasma 6.1 release scheduled for June 18th, as well as the maintenance release 6.0.5 scheduled for May 21st. This week they put some of the final Plasma 6.0 bugs to rest and continued working towards Plasma 6.1 with a variety of UI improvements. Nothing groundbreaking this week, just a slow grind of useful work towards a solid release. Fabrice Bellard published the TSAC audio encoding format and associated tools for compressing and decompressing audio files. The format is focused on transmitting data at very low bit rates while maintaining acceptable quality of music and speech. Using TSAC allows you to pack a musical composition with a duration of 3.5 minutes and a sampling frequency of 44.1 kHz in stereo into a 192 kilobyte file, which will be almost indistinguishable from the original to the typical ear. The project code is distributed under the MIT license, but the source code is not currently offered for download. The basis for the creation of TSAC was the Descript audio codec, which was expanded to support stereo sound and transferred to the use of another machine learning model based on a neural network with a transformer architecture, which made it possible to increase the compression ratio by reconstructing lost details, taking into account the model of human auditory perception. The model occupies about 200 megabytes in compressed form and is formatted in a deterministic representation, which guarantees the same result regardless of the CPU or GPU used and the number of threads involved in the calculations. Dillo 3.1, a minimalistic web browser written in C and C++ using the FLTK library, has been published. The browser is characterized by its small size and minimal memory consumption, with a graphical interface with support for tabs and bookmarks, support for HTTPS, and a basic set of web standards but no JavaScript. Dillo's functionality can be extended through plugins, including for IPFS and Gemini protocols. The project code is distributed under the GPL v3 license. The last major release of Dillo was published in 2011. In January 2024, an attempt was made to revive the project, the results of which are presented as part of Dillo 3.1. A fork of Dillo Plus was also created in 2023, which included the backlog of fixes. You've been listening to Full Circle Weekly News. For more details, see the next issue of the magazine at fullcirclemagazine.org or check the links in the show notes. You can contact me at bardmoss@pm.me. I'll see you next week.